What's up, guys? Welcome back to MMA Prophecies, where I give you guys fight predictions and MMA content every week. And if you guys are looking for a place to bet, then hit me up on Instagram at Acoustic Shredder. Name is in the description. You'll be able to place all of your favorite bets on your favorite fighters. Plus, you get a rebate if you lose, so let me know. Sean O'Malley just outclassed Chito Vera in a 5-round fight. And he looked better than ever. He looked strong, fast, durable, and his footwork and feints were on a whole nother level. Chito almost had no answer until the very end, where he landed a very good body shot. But the only reason he landed it was because Sean was getting more aggressive at the end, hunting for the finish. Going specifically up against his coach's directions, which is funny because these fighters like him and Dustin Poirier going for that guillotine when they specifically told him not to like a million times, he still goes for it. I love the fighters, so that's what makes him so special, right, you guys? But originally I thought this is going to be a much more competitive fight, as we've all seen Chito be durable and go through many wars and overall do very well in these 5-round fights. But Sean just looked phenomenal. We've never seen Chito get hurt that bad ever in a fight or even give that much respect to anyone he's faced. He was biting heavily on Sean's face, which allowed him to set up a huge knee to the face early in the fight. And then, oh my gosh, the sound of that landing was absolutely insane. It was like a firework that got set off. So props to O'Malley. But after his Peter Yan fight, I thought, wow, he could go toe-to-toe with Yan, which was impressive, but it didn't quite convince me that he can be a dominant champion because he still got clipped and looked like he got tired. But after watching his movement in the Sterling fight and then his performance in this fight, holy smokes, he looked like he was in the Matrix. And the problem a lot of guys are going to face and are facing is his height, his reach, his power, and speed. And because he's so tall, fast, and long, it's going to be hard for Merab to take him down and catch him. That's my personal opinion. But we all see the openings Merab leaves when he's going for takedowns, when he got clipped versus Cejudo with that left hook. If he can't keep O'Malley down in a 5-round fight, he's going to be in trouble. But I would like to see Sean beat Merab first and then Ilia Topuria to defend his belt versus T-City before him and O'Malley fight each other. I still think, and I'm sure you guys all feel the same way, we want to see them defend their belt like the OGs used to do, right? Like John Jones and Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway before facing that next title holder. But who all was amazed at Sean O'Malley's performance last night? Raise your hands, because that was spectacular. But after that, obviously I'm concerned at how this is going to affect Chito's durability. DC said last night, it's only a matter of time before your durability breaks, like Tony Ferguson. And we may have just seen Sean O'Malley break that last night. I think Chito needs to take some time off. I think he needs to focus on recovering his head, because Sean said last night that he felt something break, right? And I 100% believe him. 100% he was dealt a major concussion, needs to heal. We've never seen Chito's face look like that, and we've never seen him bite that hard in face or get affected by punches like that and knees. I'd like to see him come back sometime next year versus Henry Cejudo. They're both coming off losses. They're both looking like they're both past their primes. But who can really match up with Sean O'Malley at this point? I think Peter Yan would have the best chance because in a lot of people's eyes, he won that fight before. So imagine a 5-round fight. That would be absolutely insane. I would still give it to Sean O'Malley at this point. He's looked much better since, and Peter Yan has looked good, but not as impressive as O'Malley. But Peter Yan versus Song Yadong last night, he looked good. He fought like a very smart, well-rounded fighter. He was able to use all of his tools, veteran savviness, and crisp boxing to eventually piece up Song and eventually win a unanimous decision. So I feel like him versus the winner of Merab and O'Malley would only be right. As for Song, he continues to struggle versus top guys like Corey and Peter, who are just faster and more technical and more experienced. but he's still very young and has a lot of upside, right? Nice check there. But there's plenty of tough guys ranked below him that he can fight and prove himself up, against. Davison Figueiredo, Rob Font, Umar, Jonathan Martinez is an absolute beast. But the bantamweight division is looking like one of the most exciting divisions in the UFC because these guys are all active, they're all fast, good cardio, powerful. There's just so much more action in the bantamweight division. I love it. Much better than the flyweight division, in my opinion. But who else, loves the bantamweight division? If not, what's your favorite weight class? But another great weight class is the lightweight division, right? It's also very exciting. We just saw Dustin Poirier KO Benoit Saint-Denis, which I did predict. He actually took him at plus 450 to win by finish, so cash that, baby. But Benoit is a good fighter for however long he's been fighting. He only started training MMA in 2019, which is insane, I believe. But guys who are in the top 10 are guys who have been training MMA their whole life. Look at these guys. Look at these monsters, right? Look at these monsters. So in that regard, Benoit is definitely at a bit of a disadvantage, but he's still fresh and young and hasn't taken a ton of damage. He's a big, strong, athletic dude with good grappling and wrestling. So if he can really focus on his striking, game plans, and head movement, then he's going to continue to make progress. But it's a very, very unforgiving sport if you don't have those two things aligned. As for Dustin Poirier, did you see that beautiful right hook? I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, look at this. It was picture perfect. He gets beat up a little bit in that first round like he does almost every fight, but as time goes on, he gets more confident and stronger, and then his veteran savviness and conditioning kicks in, and he just bobbed and weaved up against the fence, landed a clean uppercut, and then soon after that, right hook. And he did primarily work with Mateusz Gamrot, which of course helped him in this fight because Mateusz is going to be the better wrestler and overall more well-conditioned fighter. But who will Dustin fight next? I want to see him fight against Jalen Turner and build himself back up a little bit before he fights the top guys again. Because we saw in his press conference, he mentioned that he's got some tread on his tires, and he doesn't know how much longer he's going to be in the sport. Even though he took out Benoit, he still looked a little old and rusty in that first round, looked a little tired. We can all agree on that. And since it wasn't that long ago before he got KO'd, when he got KO'd by Gaethje, I'd like to see him build himself back up by being somewhat of a gatekeeper. And what a gatekeeper he would be, though, right? Plus we get some exciting fights, right? But then also MVP made his debut versus Kevin Holland. Stylistically, Kevin Holland is having a lot of trouble who are fast and lanky and don't sit around in the pocket. Guys like Stephen Thompson, guys like MVP, right? And he had no answer for MVP. MVP was doing his thing, and for Kevin Holland to be a plus 130 favorite was kind of interesting because, like I said, the stylistic matchup, guys are really exposing Kevin Holland because Kevin is not a great wrestler. Even though he's got good takedown defense, he doesn't have good takedown offense. And that's hard to learn over the course of an MMA career, especially versus guys who have really good takedown defense, right? Like MVP. So MVP did everything he could have done in that fight. Look at this spinning back elbow. He was going in, landing plenty of overhands. Kevin Holland was getting frustrated, getting back and forth. He was starting to taunt MVP. But yeah, now Kevin Holland did not look good in that fight, and his prime is looking like it's pretty much gone at this point. So who is Kevin Holland going to fight now? That's a great question. We have no idea, right? He's out of the top 10 now. He's got to definitely build himself back up and come up with a better game plan and add more tools to his game. But at this point in his career, it's going to be really hard to do. I feel like it's kind of time for Kevin Holland to, stop looking at contending for the title and just making money and maybe build himself a brand, right? Just try and get him some sort of exciting fights as he's done recently. But yeah, it's not looking good for Kevin Holland. But you know, as well as it's not looking good for Gilbert Burns, because he got knocked out by Jack Della Maddalena, who was an absolute beast, now on a 13-fight win streak. He looked phenomenal in this fight. I mean, he looked like he was an absolute veteran. His boxing was really good. Good in and out feints, good at switching stances, right? Good at maintaining pressure. And although Gilbert Burns did land, you know, a nice overhand which landed off the glove, but it was just the technical awareness and give me 1 second here, and just the amount of volume that Jack Della Maddalena was putting on Gilbert Burns. It was a technique and volume, and Gilbert Burns couldn't hold Jack down either, because Jack is really strong. He was able to get up almost every time. Even though Gilbert Burns took Jack's back in that first round, he couldn't do anything with it. And because Gilbert was so desperate to go for those takedowns, because he was getting pieced up on the feet so bad, eventually Jack timed a beautiful knee right to the dome and ended up ultimately finishing Gilbert Burns. And sadly, Gilbert Burns started crying afterwards. And I mean, I don't blame him, man. Gilbert Burns has had a rough last few years in the UFC, right? Losing versus Kamaru Usman again, losing versus Hamzat, you know, and this time losing versus Jack Della Maddalena, you know. So Gilbert Burns is now going down in the rankings as Jack is going up. But I really like Gilbert Burns. He seems like a super nice guy. I don't think anyone hates him. He's always smiling. You know, he's an absolute killer. But that being said, his striking does need work. And his overall wrestling ability, he's really good at wrestling. But he's not as good as the top guys. You know, so who is Gilbert Burns going to fight at this point? I don't know. You know, it's hard to say. Maybe him versus Vicente Luque, or I don't want to see him fight Sean Brady. I think I want to see Gilbert Burns build himself back up a little bit. You know, maybe face Kevin Holland. I don't even know. But yeah, that was crazy. Jack actually, oh man, these knees. And guys, that's why it's so dangerous to not duck down in MMA. You can't get away with that boxing style. You know, in boxing, you're bobbing and weaving and everything like that. You can't do that in MMA. You learn pretty quickly it's going to shut you off. All right, you guys, but who enjoyed that fight? Let me know in the comment section what stood out to you, who you guys want to see these guys fight next. But that's it for today. If you guys like this video, hit the like and subscribe button. I'll be coming out with videos every week. All right, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.